Good evening, and welcome back to Dreamize Story. Tonight, you don't have to do anything at all. No deep breaths, no guided instructions. Just let your body rest and allow your mind to wander freely into the soft embrace of night. Tonight's dream travel is called A Pharaoh's Love in Ancient Egypt, a timeless tale of a modern heart lost in the golden sands of eternity, where a city girl touches an ancient stone and finds herself standing in the shadow of a king beneath a sky that has not changed in 3,000 years. After the story fades into silence, the gentle lapping of the Nile, the distant chime of temple bells, and the whisper of warm desert wind through papyrus reeds will continue to play. So if sleep finds you early, it will carry you deeper into a rest as old as the pyramids themselves. Let the night embrace you. You are safe. Close your eyes and let the dream begin.
Make yourself comfortable now. Let your body sink a little deeper into your bed or wherever you're lying. Feel the mattress rise to meet you, the pillow cradling your head, the blanket a gentle weight across your chest. Notice your breath as it flows in and out, slowly, naturally, like the tide of an ancient river. Let the day fade away. Let your muscles release, one by one, from your toes, up through your legs, your hips, your back, your shoulders, your arms, your hands, your neck, your face. Feel the weight of your body held by the earth beneath you, steady, unchanging, eternal. Let all worries dissolve like morning mist over the Nile, rising, thinning, vanishing into the warm sun. Feel the stillness around you, the warmth, the peace. You deserve this rest. And now, as you ease deeper into stillness, a story begins.
Her name is Lena, 28 years old, a graphic designer in downtown Cairo. She lives on the 5th floor of a faded Art Deco building above a tiny coffee shop called El Fishawi, where old men play backgammon, and the air is thick with cardamom, roasted beans, and the low hum of evening traffic. Every morning, she wakes to the call to prayer, slips on jeans and a linen shirt, grabs her laptop, and disappears into the chaos of the city. Her days are filled with deadlines, client revisions, endless emails, and the blue glow of screens.
But at night, when the city finally quiets, she dreams of something older, of silence, of stars, of a world before electricity, before noise, before time itself had a name. Tonight, she stands in front of the Egyptian Museum, long after closing hours. She has a special pass from her old professor, who trusts her with the keys to the past. The grand doors creak open, and she steps into the hush of history. The halls are dim, only security lights glowing faintly, casting long shadows across marble floors. Her sneakers make no sound as she walks past glass cases, past golden masks, past mummified cats, past scrolls unrolled like sleeping snakes. She stops in front of a stone relief, a fragment from a noble's tomb, taller than she is, carved with lotus flowers, unks, and a procession of servants carrying jars of wine, baskets of bread, and bouquets of papyrus. The stone is warm, warmer than it should be under the cool museum air. She doesn't know why, but she reaches out, her fingers tracing the grooves, the petal of a lotus, the feather of Ma'at, the eye of Horus, watching her, waiting.
A flash of gold, a rush of warm air, the scent of myrrh, lotus, and something sweet like honey left in the sun. Lena blinks. She is no longer in the museum. She is standing on a marble terrace overlooking the Nile at dawn. The river is wide, slow, and silver blue in the first light. Papyrus reeds sway gently along the banks. A heron lifts off with a soft flap of wings, and the air smells of wet earth, jasmine, and distant incense. She looks down, and her breath catches. Her jeans, her hoodie, her city life, gone. She wears a pleated linen dress, white as moonlight, falling in soft folds to her ankles. A broad collar necklace rests on her shoulders, made of turquoise, carnelian, and beads of solid gold. Her wrists are heavy with electrum bracelets, her hair braided with tiny golden beads that chime softly when she turns her head. A voice behind her, soft, respectful. "My Lady Nefertari-Meret, you rise early." She turns. A young servant girl, Tuya, bows low, holding a bronze mirror in one hand and a small jar of coal in the other. Lena opens her mouth to speak, but the words that come out are not English. They are ancient Egyptian, flowing like water, and she understands every syllable. Tuya leads her through corridors of alabaster and painted sandstone, past walls alive with color. Pharaoh in his chariot, bow drawn, horses rearing, enemies kneeling in surrender. The goddess Sekhmet with a lion's head, drinking from a cup of blood-red wine. Lotus pools where ibis wade and fish dart beneath the surface. The columns are massive, painted in red, blue, and gold, with capitals shaped like open papyrus or closed lotus buds. Between them, niches hold statues of gods. Thoth, ibis-headed, holding a reed pen and a palette. Hathor, crowned with cow horns and a sun disk. Anubis, jackal-headed, guarding the threshold to the afterlife. The floor is polished limestone, cool and smooth beneath her bare feet. Every few steps, a shallow pool of water reflects the ceiling, painted with golden stars, vultures with outstretched wings, and the winged sun disk of Horus. She passes a garden courtyard, sycamore fig trees heavy with fruit, a fountain shaped like a lion, water pouring from its mouth, doves cooing in a latticed dovecote, a peacock spreading its tail in the early sun, and then the throne room. He is Ramesses Meriamun, Ramesses the Great. Though in this dream he is only 30, in the prime of his reign. He sits on a throne of cedar wood, inlaid with electrum and ivory, flanked by 2 golden cobras wearing the red and white crown of Upper and Lower Egypt. His Nemes headdress is striped blue and gold, the Uraeus cobra on his forehead glinting in the torchlight. His eyes are lined with kohl, sharp, intelligent, and kind at once. He wears a broad collar of lapis lazuli and gold, and a leopard skin draped over one shoulder, the symbol of his divine authority. When he sees her, he rises. The entire court falls silent. The only sound is the soft rustle of linen and the distant song of a flute. Nefertari-Meret. His voice is low, warm, like honey over warm bread. You honor us with your presence. She should bow. She should fall to her knees, but she doesn't. She is still Lena inside, and Lena has never bowed to anyone. He smiles, a small, private smile, meant only for her. Walk with me. They walk along the Nile at sunset, the sky ablaze of fire and lapis, the river reflecting every color. A felucca glides past, its sail painted with the eye of Horus, its oars
dipping in perfect rhythm. He tells her, "I have built temples that will outlast the stars. I have conquered nations. I have fathered princes. But none of it feels like home. Until now. Until you." She tells him, "I come from a time where your name is written in books, where children learn your battles in school, where your statues stand in museums, and people take photos with their phones. But no one knows how you laughed, or how tired you were after council, or how gently you held a lotus flower." He stops walking, turns to her, takes her hand. "Then stay, and I will learn to be more than a name in stone. I will learn to be yours."
Night falls over Per-Ramesses. The palace glows with oil lamps in bronze stands, their flames dancing on polished walls. The Hypostyle hall shimmers, 144 columns, each carved with hieroglyphs telling the king's deeds, each capital a blooming lotus. In her chamber, a bed of ebony and ivory, draped in fine linen so soft it feels like water. A mirror of polished copper, reflecting her face in warm golden light. A chest of cedar, filled with alabaster perfume jars, lapis lazuli beads, golden hairpins. A harp in the corner, its strings still humming from the day's music. She stands on the balcony, the Nile a ribbon of black silk below, reflecting the moon and 1,000 stars. A hippopotamus grunts in the reeds. A priest chants from a temple across the river, his voice rising and falling like the wind. Ramesses joins her, places a lotus flower behind her ear, its petals cool against her skin. "Tomorrow," he says, "I will show you the Valley of the Kings, but tonight let the river sing us to sleep."
The sun rises behind the Great Pyramid of Giza, its limestone casing still intact, glimmering like a mountain of polished pearl. Lena stands barefoot on the sand, the grains warm from the night, cool from the shadow of the pyramid. A priest in white linen pours water over a granite altar, the droplets catching the first light, scattering into 1,000 tiny rainbows. She watches as workers chant, hauling a massive stone block with ropes and sledges, their voices rising and falling in perfect rhythm, like the heartbeat of the earth itself. She is led through a narrow passage, the air thick with the scent of cedar and resin. The walls are polished red granite, so smooth she can see her reflection. Torches flicker in bronze holders, casting dancing shadows on the ceiling. She enters the king's chamber, where a black granite sarcophagus waits, empty, silent, waiting for a king who has not yet died. The air hums as if the stones themselves are breathing.
Night falls. The great Sphinx sits in silence, its face worn but noble, eyes staring eternally toward the east. Lena walks the causeway, her shadow long behind her. A priestess burns frankincense in a bronze censer. The smoke curling around the Sphinx's paws, like a cat stretching in its sleep. She places her hand on the stone and feels a pulse, slow, ancient, patient.
She enters the Hypostyle hall of Karnak, where 134 columns rise like a forest of stone trees, each one taller than a sycamore, carved with battle scenes, offerings, and the names of gods. Sunlight filters through clerestory windows, painting the floor in shifting bars of gold. A choir of blind harpists plays in the shadows, their fingers dancing over strings of gut and bronze, the music rising, falling, filling the vast space with invisible wings. She walks the avenue of sphinxes at Luxor. Hundreds of stone creatures lining the path, some with human heads, some with ram heads, all guarding the way to the temple. The setting sun turns the sandstone rose gold, and the shadows stretch long, like fingers reaching for the Nile. A child offers her a lotus flower, its petals still damp with river water. She tucks it behind her ear, and the scent follows her all the way to the temple gates.
At Abu Simbel, 4 colossal statues of Ramesses stare out over Lake Nasser, each one 20 meters tall, carved directly from the cliff. She stands between their feet, her head barely reaching their ankles. Inside the temple, the air is cool, the walls painted with scenes of battle, victory, and the weighing of the heart. On the winter solstice, the sun rises, and a beam of light travels 60 meters through the temple to illuminate the face of Ptah, Amun, and Ramesses himself for exactly 6 minutes.
Deep in the Valley of the Kings, she watches artisans paint a tomb wall using red ochre, malachite green, and lapis lazuli blue. A scribe writes the book of the dead on papyrus, his reed pen scratching softly. A golden shrine is assembled, piece by piece, inlaid with faience and carnelian. The air smells of beeswax, myrrh, and the dust of 1,000 years. At the Ramesseum, the fallen colossus of Ramesses lies shattered on the ground, its face still serene despite the weight of time. She climbs onto the broken shoulder and looks out over the Theban hills. A flock of ibis wheels overhead, their wings flashing white against the blue. A poet recites, "I am Ozymandias, king of kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair." But the wind carries the words away, and only silence remains.
The Nile floods, turning the fields emerald green. She stands on a papyrus boat, watching farmers sing as they cast seed into the mud. The god Hapi is depicted on temple walls, pot-bellied, blue-skinned, carrying trays of lotus and papyrus. Children dance in the shallows, splashing water that sparkles like diamonds.
In a dream within a dream, she visits the Library of Alexandria before it burned. Scrolls are stacked to the ceiling. Greek, Demotic, hieratic. Scholars argue in hushed tones. A woman astronomer maps the stars. A poet writes love verses on a wax tablet. The air smells of ink, papyrus, and leather bindings. At Saqqara, the step pyramid rises in 6 tiers, the first pyramid ever built. She climbs the internal corridors, where the air is cool and dry. In a side chamber, she finds blue faience tiles, still gleaming after 4,700 years. A serpent stone guards the entrance, its eyes inlaid with obsidian. At Aswan, the unfinished obelisk lies in the quarry, longer than any ship, still attached to the bedrock. Workers chip away with dolerite balls, the sound echoing like distant thunder. She runs her hand along the smooth granite and feels the pulse of the earth, waiting to be freed. On the island of Philae, the temple of Isis rises from the water,
its pylons carved with birth scenes, nursing Horus, offering milk to the gods. At night, the temple is lit by torches, and priestesses sing hymns to the rising moon. A sacred crocodile basks on the riverbank, its eyes glowing like emeralds.
In a quiet corner of Karnak, the white chapel stands rebuilt, its limestone so pure it glows in the moonlight. Every relief is perfect, the king offering wine to Amun, the queen holding a sistrum, the Sed festival, the king running to prove his strength. In the tombs of the nobles, she sees scenes of daily life. A fisherman casting a net, a woman grinding grain, a child chasing a hoopoe bird. The colors are still vivid, ochre yellow, verdigris green, Egyptian blue.
Beneath the pyramid, the solar boat is reassembled. Cedar wood from Lebanon, ropes of papyrus fiber. She climbs aboard, and the boat rocks gently, as if still floating on the celestial Nile.
During the beautiful festival of the valley, the statue of Amun is carried from Karnak to Luxor on a golden bark, preceded by dancers, musicians, and incense bearers. The people line the banks, throwing lotus flowers into the river.
At night, the temples are bathed in colored light, and a deep voice narrates the history of the gods. But in her dream, the voice is Ramesses, telling her his story as the columns glow gold, blue, or red.
At Dendera, the birth house shows Hathor nursing Horus, the walls carved with musicians, dancers, and the 7 Hathors predicting the child's fate. The ceiling is painted with the zodiac, still visible after 2,000 years.
A festival of Opet, drums thundering, dancers in translucent linen, golden barges on the Nile, the scent of incense thick in the air. A hunt in the delta, falcons soaring, arrows flying, laughter echoing across the marshes. A quiet moment in the royal library, scrolls unrolled on cedar tables, star charts, love poems written in hieratic script. Lena, no, Nefertari-Meret learns to love this world. She learns to read the stars, to play the harp, to speak with the fluency of a native. But she also feels the pull of her own time
the stone wall, the museum, the life she left behind. One night, she returns to the stone relief in the palace garden under a sycamore tree. The lotus, the feather, the eye. She touches it one last time, and the world tilts back to the museum, back to the city, back to now. She is back in the museum. The lights are on. Her phone buzzes. 3:47 a.m. Her hand is empty, except for a single lotus petal, still damp from the Nile. She smiles, closes her eyes, and lets the scent carry her back. Now you are floating above it all. The palace sleeps. The Nile flows. The stars wheel slowly overhead. You see Lady Nefertari-Meret standing on the balcony, Ramesses beside her, the lotus in her hair, the moon in his eyes. You are not part of their story. You are the silent witness, the dream traveler. And as their voices fade into the night, you drift further, deeper, into a sleep that needs no name. Now you can let go. Let go of names, of places, of time. Let your breath take you further. You are safe. You are enough. The night holds you. Sleep peacefully. Sleep deeply. All is well.